Associate Professor Randolph Tan? Not here. Minister Lim Swee Say?
Well, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I've asked the clerk to place the MOM COS in brief on the seats of the members at the start of the sitting. Mr. Chairman, may I also seek your permission to display some slides on the LED screen. Thank you. Sir, employment landscape has changed in the past 3 years from 2015 to 2017 compared to the previous 3 years from 2012 to 2014. Net job growth slowed from more than 100,000 a year to less than 10,000 a year. Retrenchment went up to 19,000 in 2016. Resident unemployment rate increased to 3.2% in December 2016. Long-term unemployment rate went up to 0.8% in September 2016. The reasons were partly cyclical, but mostly structural. Externally, faster pace of technology and innovation, and keener and stronger competition. Internally, aging of local population and changing profile of our local workforce. Manpower-driven growth of the past was no longer sustainable. Low productivity growth will weaken our economic competitiveness. Fast growth of foreign manpower will increase social tension and weaken our social cohesion. This is why we have to transform our economy to be more innovative, manpower lean, and productive. As we transform, we are mindful that one main concern out there is about jobs. Will technology destroy more old jobs? Will foreigners take away more new jobs? Will we end up with jobless growth for our people? Ms. Jessica Tan, Mr. Lee Shan, Mr. Desmond Chu, and Associate Professor Faisal Ibrahim asked whether our locals have benefited from the economic growth and transformation efforts. Again, comparing past 3 years, 2015 to 2017, with the previous 3 years, 2012 to 2014. Even though growth of foreign employment has turned negative, local employment growth has rebounded to 21,000 last year. Quality of local employment has improved too. PMET share of local workforce went up faster in the past 3 years than the previous 3 years. In terms of wage growth, annualized real income growth of our residents for the previous 3 years is shown in gray. And for the past 3 years, it's shown in pink. So gray means 2012 to 2014. Pink means 2015 to 2017. We can see that real income grew faster across all income groups, up from the 2.3% to 3.7%. We can also see that wages at P20 and P30 not only grew faster than before, but also higher than most income groups. Sir, economic and workforce restructuring is never painless, but we have to do what is necessary. We are certainly in a better shape today. In the past 3 years, manpower growth has slowed from an average of 4% to 1%. While productivity gain has grown from 0.4% previously to 1.8% over the last 3 years, on the average 1.8% per year over the last 3 years. Having transformed from a high manpower growth, low productivity gain of 4 plus 0.4 equal to 4.4, 4% manpower growth, 0.4% productivity growth to give us 4.4% GDP growth. From 2012 to 2014, we have transformed to 1 plus 1.8 equal to 2.8 in the last 3 years. 1% manpower growth, 1.8% growth in productivity to give us the average of 2.8% growth in our GDP. We're now much closer to our future growth strategy of 1 plus 2 equal to 3. Sir, 1 plus 2 equal to 3 is not a rigid formula for future growth, but it is a framework to remind us of the need to become more manpower lean and more productive if we want to ensure that our future growth will be more sustainable. Mr. Desmond Chu asked if the productivity growth is sustainable. So we make good progress but transformation is uneven, not pervasive enough across all sectors. To make transformation and productivity growth more sustainable, we must press on with 4 key thrusts. And these are better job growth in our economy, better employment outcomes for our people, better protection for our workers, and lastly, better capabilities in our Singapore workforce. First, better job growth in our economy. Average net job growth of less than 10,000 a year in the past 3 years was not high enough. We need to bring it up to about 25,000 to 40,000 a year to provide enough jobs for a 3.4 million workforce growing at about 1%. We must also keep improving the quality and attractiveness of jobs to meet the higher aspiration of our people. So instead of developing lean enterprises individually, we need to develop lean industry collectively, especially for sectors that are less attractive to our locals today. Minister Josephine Teo will elaborate on this. Second, better employment outcomes for our people. Last year, under the Adapt and Growth Initiative, we helped more than 25,000 job seekers to secure jobs successfully. Even though resident unemployment rate has declined since June last year, we are still concerned that unemployment in future is likely to be stickier, not due to shortage of jobs, but shortage of skills and job-skill mismatch, I think a concern also shared by Mr. Lam. We've enhanced the National Jobs Bank into an online portal known as My Career Future. We are also strengthening the Adapt and Grow initiative to minimize mismatches and mismatches. Minister Josephine Teo will elaborate later. So as we make our economy more innovative, we must also keep our workforce inclusive. Young and old, high and low in terms of age and skill profile, and for both genders. For our older workers, re-employment age was raised from 65 to 67 last year. Employment rates for mature workers aged 55 to 64 and 65 and above has continued to improve. We're also actively promoting more companies to make better use of technology to make jobs ESS, easier, safer, smarter for our mature workers. Mr. Zainal Sapari and Dr. Intan suggested raising their CPF contribution rates. Mr. Heng Chee Hao suggested to review the need for statutory retirement and also to raise the re-employment age further beyond 67. So the Tripartite Committee on Employability of Older Workers was set up in 2005. These issues raised by Mr. Heng, Mr. Zainal Sapari, and Dr. Intan are important issues. The Tripartite Committee will study them. So for low-wage workers, I agree with members that we must do more to improve their skills, productivity, careers, and wages in a more sustainable manner. We introduced the Progressive Wage Model, PWM, for cleaning in 2014, followed by landscaping and security 2 years later in 2016. The outcome is positive. A few days ago, I came across a Straits Times article by NUS economists Kenneth Le and Ivan Peng, titled Impact of Progressive Wage Model. And I quote, "In sum, as a kind of minimum wage policy, as a unique kind of minimum wage policy, the PWM has succeeded in raising wages without apparently reducing employment. More importantly, as a tailored, structured, and progressive policy, it provides a wage ladder for low-skilled Singaporean workers, holding out its promise of growing income over time." End of quote. Sir, will make the adoption of progressive wage model more widespread to benefit more workers. MOS Sam Tan will elaborate later. Third, better protection for our workers. Our workforce is changing fast. We now have more PMETs, fewer rank and file. This trend will continue. Our employment landscape is changing too. With growth of the platform economy, we can expect to see more freelancers and self-employed persons. We are concerned for them in terms of skill upgrading, fair treatment, loss of income due to injury or illness, and savings for healthcare and retirement. Minister Josephine Teo will elaborate on this later. For the vast majority who still engage in jobs with employer and employee relationship, Mr. Patrick Tay and Dr. Ing Tan call for a review of the Employment Act. I agree with them. Currently, Employment Act covers 3 groups of employees. First, all workmen who are manual workers or blue-collar workers, including most technicians. Second, all non-workmen who are non-manual workers or white-collar workers. And lastly, some, but not all, managers and executives with a salary cap of $4,500. With PMETs making up 56% of local workforce now, going up to 65% by 2030, it's timely to make a more fundamental change to the coverage of EA. In consultation with tripartite partners, we've decided to enhance our current EA framework. First, we'll remove the salary cap of EA to cover all employees, including all PMETs. I'm sure Mr. Patrick Tay must be very happy to hear this, because he's been championing this for many years. The exceptions are public servants, domestic workers, and seafarers who are covered separately, such as by other acts due to their nature of work. Now, all core employee benefits in the EA, including annual leave, paid public holidays, paid sick leave, and paid hospitalization leave, and other protections such as timely payment of salary, maternity protection, and childcare leave, statutory protection against wrongful dismissal, and the right to preserve terms and conditions, existing terms and conditions for employment transfer resulting for sales of businesses and business restructuring. All this will now be extended to all employees, and this will cover an additional 430,000 PMEs. Mr. Patrick Tay asked for more clarity on the type of transfers within or outside the scope of Section 18A about sales of businesses, business restructuring. We agree that more clarity is useful. We'll work with tripartite partners to update our guidelines on this. Second, we'll extend additional protection on hours of work and overtime payment to more workers. For workmen, current salary cap of $4,500 already cover more than 99% of the workmen, so there'll be no change. But for non-workmen, the current cap of $2,500 will be raised to $2,600, so that this enhancement will extend coverage to half of our workforce. As for overtime pay, salary cap for non-workmen will be revised upwards from $2,250 to $2,600. About 100,000 non-workmen will benefit from this increase. The third and final change to the EA concerns dispute resolutions relating to salary dispute or wrongful dismissal. Currently, all salary-related disputes are mediated at TADEM. If unresolved, the claims are then heard at the ECT, Employment Claim Tribunal. But wrongful dismissal are adjudicated by MOM, not ECT. We'll shift it over to ECT to provide both employers and employees with one-stop service. We'll seek Parliament approval of this amendment to EA later this year for implementation by 1st April next year. Mr. Daniel Goh spoke about protection for contract workers. Tripartite partners launched the tripartite standard on the employment of term contract employees in July last year. For contracts of 14 days or more, the standard called for companies to treat contracts renewed within 1 month from the end of the previous contract as continuous and cumulative in terms of the length of service for the computation of leave benefits and the notice pay for early termination or non-renewal. It also calls for companies to provide training to ensure that their contract workers can perform their roles effectively. Professor Daniel Goh asked for an update. Now, as of end of February, more than 550 employers covering more than 30,000 term contract employees have adopted these standards. So far, we have not received any complaint from any of these contract employees. Associate Professor also suggested that we should conduct audits and surveys and to include retrenchment benefits in this standard. Now, being a new standard, our focus now of the tripartite partners is to increase the adoption by more employers. So we'll look into the suggestions by Professor Daniel Goh when we next review the standard. Another important areas of protection for our workers is safety and health. Through joint efforts of tripartite partners, our WSH performance has improved. Fatality rate has dropped to 1.2 last year, lowest level ever recorded for our workforce. Our next target under the WSH 2028 is to be formulated is to bring it down further to below 1 per 100,000 workers. We're also committed to reduce workplace injuries, as well as to enhance workplace health by embracing a mindset of total workplace health and safety. More Sam Tan will elaborate later. Last but not least, our fourth and probably one of the most critical challenges is to ensure that slower growth of our Singapore workforce will not become the bottleneck in the future growth of our Singapore economy. Today, Singapore workforce of 3.4 million is made up of 2.3 million local, 2/3 of the total workforce, and 1.1 million foreigners, 1/3 of our total workforce. So 2/3 local plus 1/3 foreign give us 1 Singapore workforce. With slower manpower growth into the future, we need to maximize the potential of our 2/3 local and our 1/3 foreign, so that together we can maximize the potential of our total Singapore workforce. We must strive for 2/3 plus 1/3, not just equal to 1, but greater than 1. First, we must not allow 2/3 plus 1/3 to be less than 1. And this could happen if unfair employers discriminate against our local workers. Now, to prevent this from happening, we are pro-business, but only to those businesses who are pro-workers. We've identified 500 companies so far. They have the preconceived ideas that our local PMETs are either unable or unwilling to do the job. So they write them off without even considering them fairly. We therefore put them on our FCF, Fair Consideration Framework watch list. Their EP applications are subjected to additional scrutiny. This is to eradicate nationality bias, I think as described by Mr. Peter Tay. In response to Mr. Peter Tay, Patrick Tay, my apologies. In response to Mr. Patrick Tay and Mr. Chong Ki Hiong, these companies on our watch list, they come from various sectors, including employment agencies and placement companies. Mr. Patrick Tay, Jessica Tan, Ms. Jessica Tan, Mr. Chong Ki Hiong, Mr. Lim Biao Chuan, and Professor Faisal Ibrahim asked for an update. Since we started in February 2016, a total of 1,900 EP applications have been withheld or rejected by the MOM or withdrawn by the companies. TAFEP, the Tripartite Alliance for Fair Employment Practices, worked with them to improve their HR practices. WSG, Workforce Singapore, NTUC E2I, and the IHL work with them to recruit fresh graduates and our local mid-career PMETs. As a result, more than 2,200 Singaporean PMETs were hired by these companies. One of these companies is an IT services firm with more than 1,000 PMET employees. It was placed on watch list in February 2016. The company worked with TAFEP and IMDA to attract and retain locals and hire about 200 more Singaporeans. After exiting from the watch list, this company continues to adopt fairer and more progressive HR practices. And indeed, these are win-win outcomes for both the business and the workers. Another example, a private wealth management company with 80 PMET employees. They used to hire mostly foreign PMETs to serve mostly expatriate clients. It was placed on a watch list in February 2016. Since then, it has repositioned to serve both local and expatriate clients, and it hired 30 Singaporean wealth managers and PMETs, trained them here as well as overseas. Now, after being removed from the watch list, the company continues to hire and develop more of our local wealth managers and PMETs to grow their business. Again, another case of win-win outcomes. So far, 150 companies out of the 500 companies have improved their HR practices and exited from the watch list. Of the remaining 350 companies, 60 of them have not been cooperative and show no sign of improvement. We have curtailed their work pass privileges, no new EP applications, no renewal of existing EPs until they adopt fairer HR practices. Sir, we will continue to fight this win-lose mindset of 2/3 plus 1/3 less than 1 because it results in a waste of our precious human capital. Second, for 2/3 plus 1/3 to be bigger than 1, we will make 2/3 local better and strengthen our local core. I agree with Ms. Jessica Tan and Mr. Lim Chuan. We will continue to enhance employment and employability of the Singaporean PMETs. We will create more jobs of the future for them through industry transformation. We will create more skill of the future in them through the Skill Future movement. And will create more careers of the future with them through the Adapt and Grow initiative. To ensure fair access to more jobs and better jobs, we'll strengthen the fair consideration framework further, as suggested by Mr. Patrick Tay. We'll expand the requirement to advertise jobs on the National Jobs Bank before EP application to cover more employers, not just those with more than 25 employees, but also those with at least 10 employees. At the same time, we also cover more jobs with salary of up to 12,000 as of today to jobs with salary of up to 15,000. This will take effect from 1st of July this year. Sir, thirdly, for 2/3 plus 1/3 to be bigger than 1, we have to make the 1/3 foreign better. I think a point made by Ms. Jessica Tan. As we moderate the intake of foreign manpower, especially foreign professionals, employers say they cannot find enough locals who have the skills and are willing to do the jobs. They say this has slowed down their pace of business transformation and growth. They feel that our foreign manpower policy is too tight. To them, MOM is not pro-business enough. But on the other hand, we hear ground feedback that there are still too many foreigners, too much competition here for jobs with our locals. They feel that our foreign manpower policy is too loose. So to them, MOM is not pro-worker enough. Sir, the policy objective of MOM is to strike a fine and dynamic balance between the two. Open enough to be pro-business, to support business growth, and yet at the same time, tight enough to be pro-worker, to enhance local employment growth. We therefore stay open to the intake of foreign professionals, but continue to tighten the criteria for EP. We did that in 2014 and 2017. This is to calibrate the growth of EP holders and enhance their overall quality, both at the same time. Professor Faisal Ibrahim asked for the outcomes. In the past 3 years, on average, we approve about 50,000 new EPs every year. But at the same time, about a same number of EPs were not renewed. And the growth of EPs therefore slowed to an average of 3,000 a year in the past 3 years. This is significantly lower than the peak of 32,000 in 1 year in 2011. So on the whole, local share of net growth in PMET employment improved from an average of 68% in the previous 3 years, 2012 to 2014, to an average of 78%. So from 68% went up to 78% in the past 3 years. So out of every 10 net increase in PMET jobs in the last 3 years, 7 to 8 of them went to our local PMETs. Sectors where local account for a large majority of the net growth in PMET employments include professional services, infocom, healthcare, finance, and insurance. In short, we're able to draw on foreign professionals to help meet the manpower needs of the industry, while at the same time strengthen our local core. By working together, complementing each other more, and competing with each other less in Singapore, our Singapore workforce of 2/3 local and 1/3 foreign will be able to support a faster pace of industry transformation for us to compete better globally for better investment and jobs. Mr. Lee Shan asked for flexibility for employers to hire foreign PMETs, especially those with skills in great shortage in Singapore. Sir, let me clarify that the tightening of EP criteria should not be an issue for most foreign professionals with skills in great demand globally and in short supply locally. These include, for example, AI, data analytics, advanced manufacturing, digital services. Expertise often cited, these are the expertise often cited in the media by the various business groups. Now, such professionals will command a salary premium and should be able to meet our EP criteria in terms of salary, qualification, and experience. With the exception of those on our FCF watch list, as long as the employing companies have complied with our FCF in giving fair consideration to our local PMETs, they should generally be able to obtain approval for work pass applications for such specialists in short supply locally and in critical shortage locally. In the exceptional situation where the EP applicants with the skill set much needed here and yet are not able to meet our EP criteria, we do allow sector agencies to exercise some flexibility, but only in a highly selective manner. On the condition that there's indeed a shortage of such skills here, and that these foreign professionals are needed to help to speed up our industry transformation and growth. Sir, so on balance, our manpower policies is both pro-business and pro-worker. It's designed to improve the quality of both our foreign and local workforces in Singapore and enhance the complementarity with each other. This is so that we can meet the manpower needs of businesses for them to transform and grow, and the career aspiration of our people for them to adapt and grow. Guided by this policy objective, we'll introduce further change to make wanted foreign even better. Now, for the S-Pass holders who are mid-career skilled foreigners, their minimum qualifying salary was last updated in 2013. I agree with Mr. Patrick Tay that it's timely to review, and will increase the entry-level salary by 200, up from 2002 to 2004. As per current practice, those with more years of experience will need to meet higher salary thresholds. To allow companies more time to adjust, the increase will be done in 2 steps, $100 from January next year, and next $100 from January 2020. We also provide a transition period for existing S-Pass holders. As for work permit holders, there will be no further tightening for now. Hence, no change to dependency ratio ceiling, DRC, and levy. As pointed out by Mr. Melvin Yong and Mr. Thomas Chua, our focus is to enhance quality and productivity of this foreign workforce. Work permit holders at basic skill level R2 from non-traditional sources and PRC, they are now allowed to work here for a maximum of 10 years. Those with higher skills, R1, in services and manufacturing, are allowed to stay here for up to 18 years, and 22 years if they work in construction, process, and marine shipyard. In response to feedback from the industry, we'll extend the maximum period of employment by another 4 years. So those from 10 years will now go to 14 years, 18 years to 22 years, 22 years to 26 years. This will apply to all sectors and for both R1 and R2 to take effect from 1st May this year. We also give employers more pathway to improve the quality of their foreign workers. Besides skill certification, those who are more experienced with higher salary can also be upgraded from R2 to R1 pass. This is currently allowed for construction, process, and services sector. We'll extend it to manufacturing and marine shipyard sectors. We believe this will be helpful to companies that want to hire and retain their better work permit holders. It will take effect from 1st of September this year. Fourth, for 2/3 plus 1/3 to be greater than 1, we need to make the plus better. To recognize and spread the adoption of progressive HR practices, we launched a HCP in February last year. 134 HC partners are now on board. They are from various sectors, ranging from MNCs and SMEs as well. Together, they employ about 140,000 locals. Mr. Patrick Tay, Ms. Jessica Tan, Professor Faisal Ibrahim asked for an update on HCP. Sir, HCP companies believe in transforming HR into HC, human resource into human capital. Not consumption in human resource, but investment in human capital, turning HR into the most precious capital. First, there's strong local core at all levels. Collectively, local PMETs account for about 90% of the total PMET workforce in these companies. not just more than 90% at the entry to middle level, but also more than 80% at the senior to top level. Second, their workforce is highly inclusive. Jobs are redesigned to be less physically demanding for the older workers. Flexible work arrangements are offered to allow those with care responsibility at home to share jobs, and for employees to go on sabbatical and pursue new opportunities within the company when they return. To pursue part-time studies, to upgrade themselves, or to enable retired employees to return to work on a part-time basis. Third, HCP companies believe strongly in strengthening local-foreign complementarity. They transfer skills from foreign experts to our local workforce and build out local core in their senior management team. Our HCP partners, or rather one HCP partner, which left a deep impression on me, is Keystone Cable. Keystone Cable is a local SME with 140 employees. It's a maker of power and control cables with a strong foothold in the region. The plant is located in Senoko, not easy to attract locals. In fact, it has to work doubly hard to compete with MNC for talent. But as a flexible and nimble SME, it embraces the mindset of human capital development. Started off as a delivery driver, Mr. Jimmy Wong is now a sales executive. He brought in $1 million worth of sales in just 6 months in his new job. He's now being groomed to take on clients in overseas market. The company was able to attract 20% more job applications in last year. But what's even more impressive is that 100% of those they offered jobs to accepted their offers. Sir, we'll keep grooming the HCP community as suggested by Mr. Patrick Tay. We also promote adoption of tripartite standards as reminded by Ms. Tana. Fifth and last, we must strengthen the synergy between 2/3 local and 1/3 foreign so that the outcome will not be equal to 1, but greater than 1. Globally, there is a big concern that technology will take away many jobs. Yet, we see an amazing race to embrace technology. China is the world #1 users of industrial robots today. Globally, there's a big concern that foreigners will take away jobs from the locals. Yet, more countries are opening up even more to attract foreigners with the skills and expertise to offer, including China and Japan. This reminded me of the story of 2 men walking in the jungle. A tiger was catching on them. One of them sat down to tighten his shoelace. The other one asked, "What are you trying to do?" He said, "I'm tightening my shoelace." "Yeah, but the tiger is coming on us. You got time to tighten your shoelace?" He said, "Yeah, because I'm getting ready to run." "You mean you can run faster than the tiger?" No, of course not. But all I need to do is outrun you. Yeah. Now, in the global village, it's not possible to outrun the technology, but we can outrun the competition. Those running slower will see more jobs being destroyed by technology. Those who run faster can create new jobs with technology more than the loss of existing jobs to technology. This explains why China is running fast with robots, and Japan is not slow too. With the help of robots and AI, Honda Motor, Canon, Pioneer, they are bringing production of car components, car navigation system, digital camera back to Japan. So Made in Japan is making a comeback, but this time with the help of not just robots, but intelligent robots and human co-workers. With the world out there running fast, just imagine what if one day a cheaper China becomes better by using technology faster than us. A better Japan becomes cheaper also by using technology faster than us. Now, if this happens, they would become cheaper, better, faster than Singapore. Then what future will we have then? So Singapore must run fast too. In fact, the faster, the better, and we are. We are running fast in advanced manufacturing. At Bedok Industrial Estate, my constituency, Panasonic is building a smart factory there. It will have machines fitted with sensors, interconnected to work with each other. Operations will be more manpower lean, and the local workers will be retrained to take on new and better jobs, such as robot coordinators. The adoption of predictive management will mean near zero operation incidents, such as no machine breakdowns, no product defect. We're also running fast in AI. We now have AI Singapore, our national AI program, to anchor deep national capabilities in AI. We also have AI business partnership to encourage and facilitate AI adoptions in our industry, and the AI apprenticeship program to develop AI professionals with key skills such as machine learning and deep learning. In digital services, MAS is promoting fintech to realize our vision of becoming a smart financial center. It's working with industry to push through groundbreaking initiatives, blockchain, quantum computing, big data, AI, and so on. In fact, we move so fast that today, Singapore is one of the top global fintech hubs alongside London, New York, and Silicon Valley. We're also running fast in becoming a smart nation. In the 80s, when I was still a young man, right, we became an intelligent island through national computerization, office automation, computer integrated manufacturing. This time round, we aspire to become a smart nation and a digital government through Internet of Things, national digital identity, smart urban mobility, cyber security, and more. Sir, all these are important and strategic initiatives to bring us and keep us at the forefront of global technology and innovation. However, to truly succeed in becoming a pervasively innovative economy and society, we need to do much more. We need to speed up the development and transfer of new and better global capabilities to our local workforce, a point made by Mr. Chong Ki-Hiong. Not just in high-tech, high-profile and high-impact sectors, but in as many sectors as possible and as quickly as possible. This is why we're piloting the CTP, Capability Transfer Program, because the potential scope for transfer and development of new capabilities is limited only by our focus and determination. Mr. Patrick Tay asked for an update. I will illustrate with a few examples. In precision engineering, smartphone is getting bigger, but flatter and lighter. Hence, our local industries need to use softer alloy and fit in more chips and components. Companies need to use high-speed, high-precision machines to prevent cracking and warping. Local engineers and technicians are also required to have new skills to advise on product design and materials selection. To compete well, our local industries need to acquire new technologies and new capabilities to offer lower costs to be cheaper, higher accuracy to be better, and shorter cycle time to be faster. So cheaper, better, and faster. So under the CTP, over a period of 15 months, we support our precision engineering companies to install high-speed, high-precision machines and to bring foreign specialists from Germany to train our local trainers, training locally as well as through remote coaching, who are now able to train our local trainers, are now able to train our local trainees from several companies in the industry. Now, in the areas of pharmaceutical transportation, today more than 20,000 tons of global pharmaceutical cargo go through the Changi Airport annually. And the global market is still growing and growing very fast. But out of 209 companies certified by IATA to handle such cargo, we have only 10 of them here, right, out of 209. So to grow the Singapore's market share in the global industry that's growing very fast, the Singapore Air Cargo Agent Association, the Changi Airport Group, the CAS and the industry, they want to work together to bring in IATA certified trainers from UK, from Dubai, to train a group of local specialists here who will then be able to multiply this capability by training other locals. So in total, we aim for up to 25 companies, up from the 10 currently to 25, to be able to obtain the IATA certification. So here's another example of capability transfer. Sir, CTP is also relevant to domestic sector. For example, in lift maintenance, the current approach is wait for the lift to break down, then repair, then wait for the lift to break down again. A better approach actually is to make all our lifts in Singapore into smart lift, using predictive data analytics and maintenance to shift from corrective maintenance, which means waiting for failure, to preventive maintenance, periodic maintenance before failure, which is being done by many companies today, but to the predictive maintenance. So reduce the probability of failure. So predict what is likely to happen before it happens. So under the CTP, we will partner with leading global vendors to bring in overseas specialists or send our local trainers overseas so that later on they can return to train our local trainees here. So in this way, we can anchor smart lift capability in Singapore. Furniture manufacturing is another example. Not many of us know that our local furniture industry is a $6 billion industry with over 1,900 companies. Manufacturing facilities here focus mainly on make-to-order furniture. Today, we can design and make furniture using 3-axle computer numeric control CNC machines. 3-axle. I asked them what does it mean 3-axle. They said these machines can move left, right, up, down, front and back. So 3-axle. But in the words of the industry themselves, we are now still at Industry 2.0. Now, to upgrade the industry, our local industry, to 4.0, we will help them to bring the 5-axle CNC machines, where the tools can twist and turn, cut in different directions to create contour and more complex shapes. So this will also make the jobs of the craftsman ESS. So under the CTP, the Singapore Furniture Industries Council, together with Workforce Singapore, will bring in specialists from Italy to train our local trainers and our local craftsmen. Another example of domestic industry is car maintenance. Market for hybrid car grew by 200% in the last 2 years, from 6,000 a year to 20,000 last year. New capabilities are needed for the repair and maintenance of this hybrid car. No longer just changing the oil filter, checking and replacing battery, lights and brakes, but have to handle a completely different system. Carry out battery load tests, high voltage cable inspection, front motor tests, hybrid transmission tests, and so on. Currently, independent third-party car workshops have no access to certifiable training to improve the skill set of our local technicians. So under the CTP, we'll partner the Singapore Motor Workshop Associations to bring specialists from Germany to train our local mechanics and to transfer the capability to our local industry. Sir, these are just some examples to illustrate the point that the scope for capability transfer is tremendous. High-tech to high-touch, MNC to SME, domestic to export-oriented industries. We'll support group projects from any company and any industry beyond those currently supported by economic agencies for specific sectors. Mr. Patrick Tay asked for details of the CTP. To achieve a real transfer of capability, project duration is mostly in months and years, not days and weeks. Specialists have to do more than just training, but also coaching and working alongside our local workers, be their trainer, mentor, and guide. Costs can often be the obstacles, especially for our local enterprises. So under the CTP, we'll co-fund the cost of this capability transfer for foreign specialists to train our local here or for our local trainers to be trained overseas. So that over time, we'll be able to anchor more capabilities here to upgrade our local workforce and industries as we transform, adapt, and grow. In reply to Mr. Lau Tia Kiang, I would like to assure him that in our project evaluation, we will consult the sector agencies and be guided by the various industry transformation map to ensure that these capabilities will be relevant and will really be relevant and able to strengthen our future competitiveness. Mr. Patrick Tay asked about the funding levels. Funding support will range from 30%, 50%, and 70% of the cost of capability transfer, which include salary costs of the expert trainers, both local and foreign, cost of living allowances in Singapore and overseas, airfare, training equipment for the industry. Projects with higher impact on the industry and those benefiting SME will receive higher level of support. So I think Mr. Lau will be pleased to hear this. So if you are industry impact benefiting mainly SME, they'll get higher level of support. Total funding per project is currently capped at $300,000. In exceptional cases, as highlighted by Mr. Patrick Tay, where the cost of capability transfer is high and local expertise is much needed but lacking. So funding support of up to 90% and project costs of more than $300,000 will be assessed on a case-by-case basis. Mr. Desmond Chu said we should scale up CTP and accelerate the acquisition of new capabilities. I agree with him fully. We started the pilot late last year, so just a few months ago. We'll reach out extensively to create more awareness and generate more interest. We hope our sector agencies and tripartite partners, including the labor movement and various industry groups, will make good use of the CTP to fill the many capability gaps in a more pervasive manner. And we hope to do this across all sectors, all sizes, with all sizes of companies as quickly as possible. Sir, our strategy of 2/3 plus 1/3 greater than 1 will help ensure that our Singapore workforce can better support the growth of an innovative Singapore economy and also create better skilled jobs and careers for an inclusive Singapore workforce. 2/3 plus 1/3 greater than 1 may be bad mathematics. However, if we work together, I'm confident that even bad mathematics can be turned into good manpower policy for the benefit of all. Mr. Chairman, in Mandarin, please. 主席先生，目前全球局势正在快速改变，在这个适者生存的世界里，新加坡的对策有二：第一是时势造英雄，快速变迁的科技和创新是无可避免、不可改变的大局面。如果我们迟迟不变通，或变通的不够快，我们必定会被淘汰。所谓长痛不如短痛，要继续进展，我们就必须掌握新科技，快速转型，加强我们的竞争力。我们的决心已经有了显著的成果，经济的好转，生产力的上升，失业率的回降，资薪的增长等，这都是我们大家一起争取到的成果。可是，我们不能安于现状，经济转型、技能提升，犹如逆水行舟，不进则退。对有些国家来说，只要能够加强经济的竞争力，就算是成功了。但是对新加坡来说，在加强竞争力的同时，也加强我们劳动团队的凝聚力，才算是真正的成功。因此，我们的第二对策是英雄造时势。在加强经济竞争力的同时，我们也尽量发挥我们独特的长处和优点，来加强我们劳动团队的凝聚力。这是很重要的。我们必须确保未来经济所带来的契机，能让社会每个阶层都能受惠，无论是年轻或年长，技能收入高或者低。我们必须特别关注年纪比较大、收入比较低的员工，我们也必须要帮助有年幼子女、年长父母的工友，在照顾家庭的同时，也能发展他们的事业。我们也必须取长补短，加强本地劳动力和外来劳动力两者之间的互利互惠。我们不应该在国内互相竞争，而应该是在国外一起竞争，为我们的经济争取更好的增长，为我们的国人争取更好的就业机会。主席先生，这世界上有两种路，容易走的路和不容易走的路。有些国家会选择容易走的路，因为容易走可以走得比较快。可是最后抵达时，才发现走到的并不是终点，而是山穷水尽的尽头。而我们选择的是不容易走的路，因为我们明白转型提升是没有捷径的。路虽然难走，但只要我们劳资政双方同心协力，协助国人，我们还是可以跑在别人的前端。抵达终点时，看到的肯定不是尽头，而是宽阔的新出路。所以，让我们与一个经济、一个社会、一个国家的共同理念，继续在这条不容易走的路上齐力前进。只有这样，才能确保新加坡在亚细安、亚洲，甚至全世界，都保有我们独特的一席之地。也只有这样，我们才能让国人安居乐业，一代生一代，生活得更加美好，更有意义。Sir, we firmly believe that job is the best welfare, full employment is the best protection for our people. Together with our tripartite partners at the national and sector levels, we have to do our best to transform across all sectors for our economy to transform and grow pervasively as One Singapore Unlimited. We also have to do our best to create better jobs, better skills for everyone to adapt and grow inclusively as One Singapore United. Advances in technology will destroy many old jobs globally and here in Singapore. But if we do more together to build new and better capability faster than our competitors, we can move ahead and stay ahead to make every enterprise a good enterprise. Every job, or rather to make every enterprise a better enterprise. Every job a better job, and every worker a better worker. Together, we can strive for innovative, inclusive, and sustainable growth for everyone. And ultimately, as Minister Lim Swee Say said in Budget 2018, together a better future. On that note, I thank you, sir.